All right, get ready because today we're going deep on something kind of surprising.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of keeping your goals secret.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you heard that right.
Mm-hmm.
We've got excerpts from this article called
Interesting.
Goal Secrecy, a Strategic Approach.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, it's really got me rethinking
Oh, yeah.
how I approach, well, pretty much everything I'm working towards.
Right.
Like, just think about it. You're about to give a big presentation
Mm-hmm.
or finally start that personal project you've been dreaming of.
Yeah.
Do you shout it from the rooftops
Uh-huh.
or keep it hush-hush?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to unpack today.
Well, and it's funny because we're often told to do the opposite, right?
Yeah.
Shout your goals from the mountains.
Right.
Get that accountability.
Yeah.
But what if that's actually undermining our efforts?
Okay, so let's get into the details.
Yeah.
Tell me about the neuroscience behind goal setting.
Okay.
We hear so much about how it rewires our brains.
Right.
But is there more to it than just that?
Absolutely. It's not just a catchy phrase.
Okay.
When we set a goal, our brain releases dopamine, which is basically a reward signal that motivates us to keep going. But here's the thing.
Okay.
That initial dopamine rush we get from setting the goal
Yeah.
can actually trick our brain into thinking we've already made progress.
Oh, so it's like getting a pat on the back before you've even started the race.
Exactly. And if we've already gotten that reward,
Right.
our motivation to actually do the hard work can fizzle out.
Hmm.
And there's another piece to this, too.
Okay.
It's called the social reality effect.
Okay, break that down for me. Social reality effect sounds a little intimidating.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Think of it like this. Imagine you tell everyone you're going to write a novel.
Okay.
Suddenly you're getting all this praise and attention.
Mhm.
Your friends are excited. Your family is proud. It feels good, right?
That's only a confidence booster.
But the problem is,
Yeah.
your brain can start to see that social validation as a substitute for actual progress.
Huh.
You've already gotten the reward of being seen as a writer, so your drive to actually sit down and write might diminish.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's like our brain is playing a sneaky trick on us.
It really is. And it's not just about that internal sense of accomplishment either.
Okay.
When we share our goals too early, we also open ourselves up to external pressures and judgments
Yeah.
that can totally derail our progress.
You mean like people raining on our parade with their doubts and negativity?
Exactly. Not everyone is going to be supportive, and
Yeah.
their skepticism can really seep into our own mindset, making us question our abilities and even give up on our goals completely.
And plus, let's be honest, announcing our goals can create this pressure to perform,
Oh, totally.
which can be completely overwhelming,
Yeah.
especially if we're still in the early stages.
It's like we've added this extra layer of stress to something
Yeah.
that's already challenging enough.
Right.
And sometimes that fear of judgment can be so paralyzing that we don't even take the first step.
Yeah.
Think about all those New Year's resolutions that fizzle out before February.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe part of it is that we're terrified of failing publicly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've got this potential for our brain to give us a
Yeah.
premature sense of accomplishment, plus the added pressure of everyone watching.
Right.
It's starting to sound like maybe keeping things under wraps isn't such a bad idea after all.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
It's interesting to think.
Oh, right. But here's the thing that I've been thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Don't we see successful people sharing their goals all the time?
Oh, yeah.
You see entrepreneurs pitching ideas,
True.
athletes aiming for the Olympics, even artists announcing albums.
Right.
So how does that fit into all the secrecy stuff?
Well, it's a great question,
Yeah.
and it shows how it's not so black and white.
Okay.
It's not that successful people never share their goals.
Right.
They often do it strategically, though.
Right.
Like they might share after they've already made some big accomplishments
Mm.
or when they need to get specific people on board.
So it's less about never sharing
Yeah,
and more about choosing the right time and the right people.
exactly. Like let's think about an entrepreneur
Okay.
pitching their business idea to investors.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't share it with everyone too early,
Right.
but they need to share it with potential funders to get resources.
To get the ball rolling.
Yeah, and build momentum.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's about being picky with
Mhm.
who you share with and when.
Right. Think about athletes training for the Olympics.
Okay.
They might share their goals with their coaches and training partners
Yeah.
for accountability and support,
Right.
but they're probably more careful about sharing with the media or the public.
To avoid the
But
extra
they-
pressure.
Exactly,
Yeah.
to avoid unnecessary pressure and distractions.
So how do we know when to share and when to stay quiet?
Right.
Is there like a framework or something to help us decide?
Yeah, there are some key questions to ask yourself.
Okay.
First, think about what kind of goal it is. Is it something really personal or tied to who you are, like
Yeah.
becoming a doctor or writing a novel?
Yeah.
Those goals might benefit from more secrecy,
Oh.
especially at the beginning, to protect you from self-doubt and negativity from others.
It's like you need that space to try things out,
Yeah.
to fail and to improve without feeling like everyone's watching.
Exactly. But if your goal is more about getting a task done,
Cool.
like launching a product or hitting a sales target,
Mm-hmm.
sharing it with your team can create a shared sense of purpose and
Wow.
accountability, which can be super motivating.
So personal goals might need more time to develop in secret,
Yeah,
while shared goals can benefit from working together.
that's a great way to put it.
Thanks.
Another thing to consider is how you handle feedback and criticism. If you know that negative comments will mess with your motivation,
Yeah.
you might be more likely to keep your goal to yourself.
I know I'm definitely someone who needs to be careful about who I share with. Sometimes even well-meaning feedback can throw me off.
We all have different limits for handling criticism.
Yeah.
It's about knowing yourself and making an environment that works for you.
Okay.
And lastly, think about who you can trust to give you real support and encouragement.
You mean the people who will be there for you even when things are tough?
Exactly. Those are the people you want on your side.
Yeah.
They can give you valuable feedback, help you stay accountable, and give you that boost of motivation when you're feeling down.
Yeah.
Sometimes sharing your goal with even just one or two trusted people can make a huge difference.
It's like having your own personal cheerleading squad pushing you toward the finish line.
Yeah. And research has actually shown
Really?
that sharing your goals and progress with a supportive friend can really increase your chances of success.
So even if we're not telling the whole world about our goals,
Right.
having that inner circle of support can be super powerful.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
about finding that balance
Mhm.
between strategic secrecy and the power of working together.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it alone,
Right.
but you also don't have to tell everyone about every goal.
Makes sense. So it's about being smart and careful with who we tell about our goals. Finding that balance between keeping some things secret
Mm-hmm.
and working together with others.
Right.
I got to say, this whole conversation has really changed how I think about this.
It is pretty interesting, isn't it?
It is.
How something as simple as who we talk to about our goals
Yeah.
can have such a big impact on whether we succeed or not.
It really makes you wonder how many goals people have given up on
Right.
just because they didn't have a good strategy for sharing them.
That's a great point. And it shows how important it is
Yeah.
to not just set goals,
Mm-hmm.
but to actually make a plan for how we're going to achieve them.
Right.
And that includes being mindful of who we tell about those goals.
So what's the one thing our listeners should take away from this today? What's the most important thing to remember when setting their next goal?
I think the biggest thing is this.
Okay.
You get to choose who you share your goals with.
Yeah.
Don't feel like you have to tell the whole world if it doesn't feel right.
Mhm.
Trust your gut. Make a plan that works for you and your goals.
Okay.
And remember, you're not alone in this.
It's about finding what works best for you,
Yeah,
building a support system that helps you, and staying focused on what really matters.
exactly. And sometimes that means keeping things quiet,
Mhm.
letting those goals grow until they're ready to be shared.
I think our listeners walking away from this deep dive
Yeah,
with a whole new way of thinking about how to achieve their goals.
I hope so.
No more falling into those traps of telling everyone too soon
Right.
or letting negativity stop them.
Exactly.
So that wraps up our deep dive on goal secrecy.
It's been great talking about this with you.
Yeah, this was really interesting.
I'm excited to see what our listeners achieve.
Yeah, me too. We'd love to hear from you.
Yep.
What parts really stuck with you?
Yeah,
What strategies are you going to use for your own goals?
let us know.
Until next time, keep dreaming big and remember,
You got this.
you got this.